In the 2023 general elections, young people accounted for nearly 40% of registered voters, the largest demographic share in the of the electorate. Yet, overall vote turnout fell to just about 26%, one of the lowest in the nation's recent history. Despite strong online mobilization and widespread civic awareness campaigns, the energy that fueled the pre-election atmosphere did not fully translate into participation at the polls. This contrasts between enthusiasm and actual engagement points to the deeper underlying issues from various perceptions in the election system, the electoral system, to general belief that votes do not count or translate to meaningful change. It raises questions about how to bridge the gap between awareness and action, and what it will take to enhance confidence in the democratic process among young Nigerians. I am Ezenwa Wagu. Welcome to Electoral Reform Half Hour on NTA News 24 Abuja. NTA News 24 Abuja. This program is brought to you by the Peering Advocacy and Advancement Center in Africa, PAACA, with support from MacArthur Foundation. Our guest tonight is Honorable Tony Mulu. He is a politician and passionate youth advocate, and the Director General of Youth in Parliament Forum, YPF. He served in Nigeria's House of Representatives from 2015 to 2019, representing Oshodi Isolo Federal Constituency as a key member of the National Assembly, and he led the bill on the Not Too Young to Run bill, which is popular among young Nigerians. Today, I'm excited to have Honorable Tony Mulu with me on set.
Thank you.
So excited to have you.
Thank you.
It's so heartwarming to know that what you battered has grown into a very big movement. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's not too excited yet, but yes, it's a work in progress. I would rather see the cup half full, not half empty, considering where we're coming from prior to the penultimate, the act, right? The bill, which is now an act. We're coming from a very dark place, somewhere you would rather not refer to, because you had a whole lot of young people missing in action, missing in Nigerian political space. But today, I can tell you that, yes, today the young people are being mainstreamed in politics in Nigeria. So, I mean, it's a process, and it's continuous.
So many people have put your face, as the face of young people participating in politics. But what do you think currently is your assessment of youth participation in shaping electoral reforms and the broader democratic processes?
Okay, I would say that there is still some form of Will I call ignorance or miseducation going on there? Yes, a whole lot of young people are currently turning on. The vibes are on, even on the social media, like you rightly pointed during your introduction. They all believe it's time for them to participate, but to what extent or to what level they can participate is something I am sure most people do not know yet. So while the literacy campaign on knowing that you can start running for office in Nigeria at the age of 25 is still ongoing, very many young persons are still confused about it. They don't know how to engage yet, So I think that is that gap that we're currently working on to see that we're able to close. Once we're able to close that gap, and people that are, most of these online agitators, like I choose to call them, now begin to realize that yes, the space is there for them to not just agitate online, but get involved in the real process. I'm sure you're going to see a whole lot of bouncing. That's the thing about Nigeria. Once it catches and everybody is there.
So, but if you still look at the way we framed the Not Too Young to Run movement, it looks like we're more interested in young people running for office and not participating in politics, because there's a difference between running and participating. You can run, but you can be a party official, you can mobilize people. There's so much to do. But what are those structural barriers that you see that hinder young people from, engaging?
Again, I will still tell you, like I told you at the beginning, it is nothing but ignorance. That thing about not even knowing your rights as it were today, not understanding that you are invited to come in and run for office and participate fully. Recall that we're coming from a past where everybody had that notion that politics is dirty, politics, and then you had our forefathers, some people I choose to call ancestors, that got into those spaces even at a very young age, but has refused to shift or even pathways with that. So they've suddenly made the political space in Nigeria seem like it is for them, forgetting that they were young when they got into those spaces. So you see them, that sit-tight approach. They preach, they make the young people feel like we're serving you. We're the ones that these seats are meant for, not for the young. You don't have anything to contribute. Your usefulness ends on election day. We use you as thugs. We give you handouts, breadcrumbs here and there. You carry arms, go against yourselves just to elect us back, because this is the exclusive space of seniors, so to speak. I recall you were a very staunch member of the movement for the Not Too Young to Run. So you recall the resistance that we had during those processes. In the house, I had my colleagues tell me, Tony, you're about to disrupt things. Are we going to start contesting with our children? So for them, just as they are breadwinners in the family, they also want to be national breadwinners in the political space.
I see.
So they believe that they are the fathers in the political space, and the way they run their homes, everyone is at their whims and caprice. That's the same way they want to continue with their influence in that. So they vehemently resisted this bill at the beginning. A whole lot of them did, but yes, we were able to push through. There was that organizing that made that happen. But truth be told, I feel a lot of where we haven't done much yet is on that sensitization towards participating fully. Political participation goes beyond online banters and rantings, I always tell people, which is one of those. And you cannot undermine the online or the digital brouhaha that goes on. It is part of it. But it's amazing that these same people, with the energy they use online today, that we've seen them, the organizing online is amazing. When I mean organizing, these are people that from different backgrounds will come together and contribute money. They don't know each other. They just follow up a cause. You know, we saw what happened in the obedience, with the obedient movement. As I mean, at first they tell you they don't have a structure and all of that. And the next thing you saw was a whole lot of people following the trend. There were lots of trends, loads and loads of contents coming out from there. And then we saw what gradually metamorphosed into an online thing coming today. So I feel the moment they now know that, look, it's not about this ranting only online. I can participate in this process. I can be voted into power. We have the numbers. Once they tell themselves that, it's game over.
So I'd like to get to your personal story, because your personal story is one of the most inspiring stories in youth participation. Here you are, a young Igbo person representing Oshodi Solo. How did you do that? What was your motivation? What was your inspiration? And then, because of time, when you got into the house and piggyback today now, when there is conversations about reforms, are you seeing young people really playing any role in these amendments, and whether their inputs are truly being captured?
Okay, I'll take the first one. My journey is quite a unique and peculiar one, really, because I set off this. I was 36 when I got to the house, and at that time, the cutoff mark was 35. Yeah, so it was just 1 year that I used in getting to the house, and I got into the house with a few young persons that were in the house then, almost a day, and we're just I don't think we were more than 4 that were below 40 that were in the house then. Yeah, but mine from Oshodi Solo, the Oshodi Solo Federal Constituency 2, where I represented, was it was truly a story that makes you understand that the young people will stand for you. But it doesn't matter where you're coming from. It will interest you to know that I don't even speak Yoruba. I don't hear Yoruba.
You don't understand it.
I don't understand it. So I couldn't understand the cultural language. But yet, that little language that we could communicate with in Pidgin, they believed me.
Broke the barrier.
I defeated an incumbent who was going for a second term. Right? And then my primaries had I and 2 other Yoruba aspirants contest for the primaries.
I think this will be something that will be in your memo. We'll go on a short break now. Yeah. Electoral Reform Half Hour continues shortly when we return. Glad to have you back. We're still speaking with Honorable Tony Mulu, Director General, Youths in Parliament Forum. As I was saying, your personal story is something that I want to read in a book, because it's coming out. It is magic. It's coming out. It's pure magic. So you can go to the second leg of my
so and the second leg of it is, you know, as and why you cannot really claim so much of dominance in a space you are not well represented in, or you don't have the numbers. So the voice of the young people being heard in the election reforms, and I'll tell you, it's neither here nor there, you know, because, I mean, having been in the chambers and knowing that other than this assembly led by the Right Honorable Speaker, Tajuddin Abbas, PhD, that has given young people more space to function. I do let you know that it's under this assembly that the Speaker had to set up a new committee, called the Youth in Parliament Committee, recognizing that space, and then appointed a chair. There is also a very young person, Honorable Olamijuwon Alawakala, to chair that committee. So I will tell you that their contributions has been quite amazing in allowing, every now and then you see Mr. Speaker holding different interactive sections with the young people. You see his deputy, Ben Carlo, holding interactive sections with young people. You see the bill he's championing about women.
Reserve seat bill.
Yeah, reserve seat bill and all the rest of them. So, yes, I would tell you that this particular assembly has been nothing but pro-youth. That I'll tell you. So I want to believe that the young people have a more, in fact, Olamijuwon Akala, MFR, is coming up with a new bill for reserved seats for youths, which I also want to believe would scale through. So I see the space for them, for more young people to engage, but then it has to be organized. There need to be those movements, understanding that the particular assembly that we have now is willing to.
So is that why you batted YPF? And in batting YPF, are you hoping to connect digital youth activism to real political power, and how that can get into
YPF was batted by the Speaker, and is chaired by the chairman of the Youth in Parliament Committee of the National Assembly. And are we willing to champion the cause of having more youths engage in the reforms? Absolutely. And we've been doing that. We've been supporting the young people in several ways. We've been supporting a whole lot of young people. We've been bringing them up, getting them mainstreamed in politics. A whole lot is going on with YPF, which I lead as the DG. And we invite young people to come around and be part of. As a matter of fact, we've started a process called the Take Action Campaign, which is actually geared to see more young people elected in office. It will interest you to know that our target is to register 20 million young people across the country for this coming election. And we're already on the process. I can tell you we're getting it already. Those numbers are, we certainly will get those numbers.
Tony, the problem hasn't ever been registration. It's been turnout. And like you noted, there is much more activity online than offline. So when you register people register for so many reasons. Some want to have ID card. Some think that there is a benefit. Probably if YPF is mobilizing, there could be something that they will benefit. How do you want to see this translate to turnout? Okay,
so I'll tell you, I would also play a bit of support to the young people here. 2023 election saw an increase in turnout from the previous ones because the over 6 million votes that P2B got, majority of them came from virgin voters that are young people, people that had never voted in Nigeria before, quite a good number of them. And those people were mobilized from online. So I would say that this is about continuous education. When you have these numbers and you now go online, there are many channels to reach out to the young people. And you must have to go to the channels they are in. You have them on TikTok, you have them on Instagram, you have them on Twitter. You just have to go and look for them where they are and send a message. That's the beautiful thing about the super traffic, the online traffic. I mean, once you...
I think there's a lot of concentration. The young people in Mbise and the young people in Damaturu, in Guru, they are young people. They don't respond to the same stimuli. So with the statistics we put out always about young people who are on TikTok, many of them are if you like, apolitical, in the sense that they will rant there, as you said, but coming to go through the rigor of standing on the line, getting accredited, voting, and then following up this process is where the challenge has been.
What is it? Put it out there. Most of the votes that we've seen in Nigeria are actually from the young people and women. Let's call it this way, because the old men, hardly come out on election day. And those that you call the political leaders, once they've collected money from here and there, you find them in hotels. They go into hiding. On election day, you don't find them anywhere. So when we talk about those that truly participate in election from the return of this democracy till today, it's between the young people and the women. The statistics are out there. The young people are the ones that they use in snatching ballot boxes.
When we used to snatch ballot boxes.
In those days, when they used to snatch ballot boxes, who are they? I mean, if the young people were not there, who would have snatched the ballot box? Not the 50, 60, 70 years old men. They don't have time for all of those. They mobilize the young people to go and scuttle what the other young people that are doing this peacefully do. But you see, the awareness is there. The last election saw a lot of young people not participate in violence. They now have the boldness, the courage to ask. If you ask them to go and arm themselves, they tell you, go and arm your children. You can't have your children overseas, and then you want me to come and kill my life. So, I mean, there's been a lot of changes, really. We must admit to that. The part where you mentioned some of them are not online, I agree totally with you, but mind you, it's an evolution. Someone that is not on Facebook yesterday, the tendency for the person to create a Facebook account in the next 2 months is very high once the person gets an Android phone. And then we're talking about deeper mobile penetration and all of that. So
we also consider parody accounts.
But then the trend is upwardly favoring migration to the digital.
That's true.
So I mean, those places you mentioned, there are also other channels to reach out to them. In most cases, you find out that in every local area, you will always find one person or two or three that has Facebook accounts.
That's true.
That is passing the message
to the people,
because he has he has the super access.
That's true.
So all those places are.
So you grandfathered Not Too Young to Run movement by the singular act that you were the one that moved that motion.
Yes.
In retrospect, what lessons have, with the benefit of hindsight, have you learned any lessons? Are there more things that you think needs to happen that can help in building more coalitions? Not just coalitions. These coalitions can influence policy, can influence laws.
So thank you for that question, by the way. That's an amazing question. For us to do this, it is not just the politicians, especially for the young people. The lessons I've learned is that the Not Too Young to Run wouldn't have sufficiently gained traction and everything without the support of the civil society. And when I mean their full involvement, a coalition of the civil society that came together, that gave it that bite, that force. Because I recall, it got to a point where we had to lead a peaceful protest. We blocked the entrance and the exit of the villa.
Yeah.
And we sat on the main road. The DSS came, threatened us, did everything. But we stood our ground until Mr. President agreed to give us a date to assent to the bill. That shows the power of coordination, cohesion. So if only the civil society is able to engage theirs together, come together and say, look, we need to start the process of informing, conscientizing the youth, telling them, what I see currently is sparsely. One civil society is doing, another is doing, so it looks like it's not gaining enough traction. But for that traction to come on board, there has to be a coalition of civil society coming together to start the sensitization of this process. And that merger with the civil society and the politically active young people would mean a lot, because one, the civil society gives you the bite and the credibility and every other thing, providing the technical support from behind and churning out the framework for these engagements and this coalition. And then you have the political elements. Well,
that's why YPF is on this program today, and it's part of that our contribution to
so we're going to get to that point. Once we get our 20 million secured, we're going to get to the point where we're calling a coalition of civil society, everyone, for the conscientization of these people. We are going to see the young people begin to turn out massively. I tell you, the young people are going to massively turn out.
Honorable Tony, this is where we draw the curtain on this episode of Electoral Reform Half Hour. And I wish to especially thank you, Honorable Tony Mulu, for your time and contributions on the program.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure having you. Thank you so very much.
Pleasure so much. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Electoral Reform Half Hour is brought to you by the Peering Advocacy and Advancement Center in Africa, with sponsorship from MacArthur Foundation. We are live every Saturday from 8:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. with a repeat broadcast on Sunday at 2:30 p.m. on this same station. Thank you for watching. I am Ezen Wawagu.